Story 1. When my dad was about 10 years old, he experienced something that might have affected him emotionally, although he never admitted it. He was home alone, watching TV in the living room, the only TV in the house, when it suddenly shut off. He got up to turn it back on, assuming it was just an old, faulty TV. However, the TV turned off again. After repeating this process several times, he started looking for the remote. While checking behind one of the couches, he found a man hiding there, holding the TV remote. The man, with long messy hair and a crazed look, smiled at my dad, who then ran out of the house screaming. He went to a neighbor's house, and they called the police. The man was still in the house when the police arrived and was arrested. My dad thinks the man was either homeless or mentally unstable. This story still terrifies me to imagine. Story 2. Jacob's mother was a drug addict, though his father was relatively stable despite being with her. One night, Jacob and his father were awakened by loud banging, scratching, and moving noises coming from his mother's room. Jacob's father rushed to her room and pounded on the door. His mother, angry and groggy, opened the door and denied hearing any noise. The window was wide open, and the TV had been moved across the room, facing outside. Jacob's father, now scared, shut the window, blocked his wife's room from the outside with a bat, and made her sleep in the living room. He stayed up most of the night. At 6 a.m., Jacob got up to find his mother already in the kitchen. Shortly after, his father came in, signaling them to be quiet. They heard something shuffling on the roof. They huddled together silently until the sound faded. Jacob's grandmother was called, and they arranged to stay at her place. As Jacob sat on the couch, he saw a finger wrapped around a doorframe. He screamed, and his father grabbed him, and they all fled to a nearby gas station until Jacob's grandmother arrived. They later retrieved their belongings from the house and never returned. The window in the empty room was open, but nothing was stolen. Story 3. When I was 13, I had the most isolated bedroom in the house, on a separate floor from my parents. One rainy night, I woke up around 3 a.m. with an uneasy feeling. I noticed a shadow at the edge of my bed and, heart racing, realized it was just my hat. Relieved, I fell back asleep. I woke again half an hour later, startled by the same shadow, but remembered it was just my hat. This happened a third time, but when I reached for my water bottle, I instead found my hat. My heart dropped as I turned on the lamp, revealing a man's face staring at me over the edge of the bed. I screamed and bolted past him, feeling him try to grab me. I woke my dad, who grabbed a baton and rushed to my room, but the man had escaped through the open window onto the patio roof. Story 4. As a kid, I had a group of friends on my block, and we often played manhunt on weekend nights, using all our front and backyards in the nearby woods. We had a rule not to venture more than a backyard's length into the woods. I always hid behind an old rusty barrel in the woods, and no one ever found me. One night, it was unusually quiet, and I finally heard footsteps nearby but saw no flashlight. Assuming it was a teammate, I whispered their names, but the person charged at me. I ran out of the woods to find a new hiding spot, but no one emerged. My friends and parents were out front, worried because a police officer had warned them about a serial rapist in the area. When I explained what happened, my parents called the police. I don't know if the person was caught, but I dread thinking about what could have happened. Story 5. When I was about 11 or 12, my mom, stepdad, and I, along with our 2 dogs, went to the beach for the weekend. We rented an apartment at the back of the shore. After unpacking and having dinner, we returned around 8 p.m. My mom stepped out, and the dogs slept on a couch bed, while I got the bedroom with a king-size bed. I played games on my computer until late at night. After turning in, I heard a loud sigh in the complete silence of the room. It wasn't my parents or the dogs, given that the door was closed. Terrified, I bolted to sleep in the bedroom opposite the master bedroom. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning, I told my parents, but they dismissed it as my imagination. I remain certain it wasn't.